Hey, Kevin Smith here again. Just want to tell you the best way to show an apartment unit. A couple of tips here. What we want to do right here when we have our prospect here is build excitement. So when we approach the door, we want to pause, look at the prospect and say, hey, I can't wait to show you this apartment unit. You're going to love it. And that enthusiasm will build into the prospect, and that will help them want to have the apartment. That's the first thing. The second thing is this. We want to come to the door and we're going to control the demonstration. That means we're going to control how the people walk through the apartment. You do that with voice control, but you're going to ask them for control first by doing this. You'll look at your prospect and say, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through the apartment, point some things out to you, and you can ask questions as we go. Is that okay? The prospect's going to respond yes. After you do that, you have total control over them to direct them through the apartment. It's very important you control that prospect to point out the features, tell the benefits, and ask a closing question. When we get inside the apartment, we want to do 3 feature, benefit, and have a closing question per room if possible. So we'll step inside here. One of the things we want to make sure we do when we come into the apartment is we let the prospect goes in first. We're going to turn here. We're going to throw the deadbolt lock for safety reasons. We never want the prospect to come between us and the door. Just in case an emergency occurs, we want to run to the door and get out. The door's not closed because the deadbolt's closed, and we're closest to the door. That's just for safety reasons. The other thing is we want to direct that prospect through the apartment. So I've asked them to come inside. They've given me control. I point out 3 features. In this particular apartment, we can point out the burglar pad, a convenient light switch for lighting as we walk in evening hours, 2 electrical outlets. You've got a closet with storage space here. You also have the laundry room right here as we walk in. So we're talking about 3 or 4 or 5 different things that you can talk about. And this is what I mean. A feature, the definition of that is whatever it is. The feature here is a burglar alarm pad. The benefit means this. What does that mean to the prospect? So you say the feature is the burglar alarm or the alarm system. The feature is a feeling of security in your apartment. And the closing question is, do you think that would be something that you would use? And that you want to ask a question where they're going to respond in an affirmative answer, usually yes. One great tip to use is shake your head when you ask that question. And they're agreeing with you. The more yeses you get in the apartment, the easier the yes will be when you're getting them to take care of the lease. So 3 feature benefit closes in every area, if possible. We'll step into the main area here. Kitchens and bathrooms always have plenty of items you can talk about, but in each room, try to do at least 3. Some other tips to know about is to know the specifics of the products in the apartment. If you know the color of the walls, find out the color. You can use that in your demonstration. The appliances, if they're all the same appliances, like these are GE, say we feature GE appliances. The flooring, this is a Fox hardwood floor, but there is actually a name for this particular style. Find that out and use that in your demo. The more specifics, the better the demo is. So that's something that's always very, very useful. And let's step over here into the bedroom and let me mention a couple of things. Another specific that's very helpful to use is to find out the dimensions of your apartments. So if this apartment is 12 feet by 14 feet or 12 feet by 10 feet, we can easily calculate you've got 120 square feet of living space. Always use specifics like that if it's an advantage. If it's a smaller bedroom, dimensions aren't that great, you may not want to mention that. Also, if it's a newer apartment, you may have dual pane windows that you can always mention the energy efficiency of those. And if we'll look in this closet, I want to mention this too. Most of our apartments nowadays have ventilated shelves like this. Measure how much you have in feet of shelves. And you can mention that in your demonstration. So if we've got 15 feet of shelving space, mention that. Instead of saying a lot of shelves, you can mention we've got 15 feet of it. That's a lot more impactful than just saying a lot or plenty. And as we step right over here in the kitchen, let me mention a couple of tips in here. Count the number of cabinets you have. We've got 14 cabinets here. This is 1, 2, and we counted 14. That's always a benefit to mention. It's a great specific. Count the drawers. This has got 4 drawers. That's a great thing to mention as well. If cabinets have adjustable shelves, you can mention that feature. One nice item I like to mention, if your refrigerator's got glass shelving, that's a great feature. The benefit is you can see through there. If they're adjustable, the benefit is you can adjust that. Most refrigerators have ice makers, and you can talk about how it helps you in the heat of the summers that we have here in the South. But 3 feature benefit closes are very important, and then we're going to do a summary close. And what you want to try to do for every floor plan is find a place to stop. And you're going to summarize the major points of interest, and then you're going to ask a closing question. So I like to step right over here in this particular apartment. And what I typically would do is when I see the thermostat, I'm going to mention about our great maintenance staff and our preventive maintenance. Talk about how we change filters. We're there for any other item that a person may need. And this is where I'm going to probably stop. I've done all my demonstration of the entire unit, and I'm going to recap the items that are important to the prospect. And it would go something like this. Trip, you said you really needed a microwave oven. We got one here for you. It's going to work out great, right? Also, we've got plenty of space in that walk-in closet. You said you got a whole new wardrobe for your new employment. It's going to handle that nicely. And your parents gave you a new washer and dryer, and you've got that space in the laundry room. Well, it looks like it's the perfect place for you. Well, let's go back to the office and we'll fill out your application. And then you walk out of the apartment and you walk to the office, and you're doing what is called an assumptive close. You're going to take them inside the office, you're going to take them to the computer or the iPad, and you're going to give it to them and say, your application is here. If you'll start filling that out, I'm going to double check to see what the prorated rent is while you're doing that. And let them go ahead and start doing it. Now, if they're doing it, hey, you got a lease. Great job, get the move-in information, provide for them, and you've got another one knocked off the list. If they're hesitant about that, you can always reapproach them and say something to the effect of, Trip, I noticed you're not filling your application out. Is there something that maybe I didn't show you in the apartment or explain to you that I might help you with now so that you'll make a decision today? You did like the apartment, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you liked it. We want you to have what you would like. So if there's something I didn't answer correctly or show you, I'd be more than happy to try to tell you about it so you can get it today. So you can live there and enjoy that beautiful scenery and enjoy that unit. So you always want to reapproach and always at least ask again, maybe twice. And one of the things that I like to mention is a reason some of our leasing agents may not get leases is they just simply are not asking the person to rent the apartment. And that's what we need to do. And it can be just as simple as saying, will you go ahead and rent the apartment today? But even Scripture tells us we have not because we ask not. So ask for the rental, be enthusiastic, do a good demonstration, and you'll get more leases.